Would you like to begin by introducing yourself and what you do?
Thank you, Rob. My name is Johan. I'm a Microsoft MVP in the Enterprise Client Management group, or belong to that product group. I'm a consultant, author, geek, focusing on enterprise Windows deployments. And I've been doing this for a very long time. Next year I will be celebrating my 25th anniversary as an IT pro. I started when I was 16, and unfortunately that's mean I'm old now, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, a dinosaur that's still quite valid for his times. Yeah, that's interesting to look at it as in terms of having an anniversary. I've been in it for quite a few years as well. I've never thought of looking at it that way.
So that means you're old too, right?
Yeah, I'm old in the tooth as well. I wouldn't want to put an age on it, but I think it falls short of the amount of years you may have put in there. So, what exactly does a deployment trainer, consultant, author, geek do?
Well, it's quite simple actually. I'm part of a config manager team at the company I work for, and we basically just help customers implement config manager, OSD solutions, migrate from earlier versions to newer versions of config manager. So I spend most of my time as a consultant, but I also try to at least once a month present a training somewhere on the globe. And I also, for the past, 10 years or so, been a frequent speaker at tech eds and management summits and such. I'd like to share or contribute information out there, and it's been a good way to do that.
Sure, yeah. It's quite a large community that you can reach with if you've got that kind of motivation. So it leads me on to the next question, Johan. How do you see the Microsoft community?
Well, I have a slogan on my blog that I think summarizes it pretty much, and the wording is contributing is everything, and it's that to me. And I can't understand why you would hold on to knowledge as something that you would own yourself and never share with someone else. So since back in probably 1994, I've been trying to share stuff out on the web that I found in my normal, daily work, notes from the field, if you will. And I feel that the Microsoft community is a really strong community, and it's basically filled with men and women who are dedicating their own free spare time to help others, and that's just amazing. The time and effort I see people put through.
Sure. What technology interests you the most?
Well, since my focus area has been OSD my entire life, more or less, it's been hardware. I love to tweak around and build servers, clients, try to cram out every possible CPU out of a machine or a GPU from a graphics card, and I really like hardware. I'm a hardware geek, I think.
So you like to make custom rigs, custom PCs?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I have a particular penchant towards doing that myself. I'm a gamer, and I really like to put together super fast machines. So yeah, I've gone to the point of using a Dremel to cut down the heatsink space so that I can actually fit it above memory sticks and stuff. But yeah, I guess also you're developing quite a lot of skills in the NAC space from doing a lot of lab building, portable lab buildings, Johan?
Indeed, absolutely. It's been a way to be able to bring around complete data centers when you're on the roadshow, if you do a training or something like that. I mean, these days it's so cool because of virtualization. It could be Hyper-V, it could be VMware, but you can have a laptop, you can have 32 gigs of RAM, you can have 2 terabytes of solid-state drives, and that allows you to basically run a complete data center out of a single machine. The Intel NUC devices, currently you can fit in 16 gigs of RAM and a 480 solid-state drives in those, but I mean, that's a small server.
Indeed.
But it's powerful enough to run Config Manager, for example.
And the price of these gadgets is dropping dramatically now. They're almost affordable.
Well, it's not too bad. I mean, the core NUC device is, I don't know in pound, but maybe 250 pounds, something like that. Without the memory and disk, but still.
Once you trick it out, it doesn't get too expensive. It's definitely worth the investment. Johan, how did you become an MVP?
I don't remember who it was that sort of discovered me, but I've been, as I said before, I've been posting in the forums for a very, very long time, and it reached a point where I probably posted on average 3-4 posts every single day of the years. I had well over 1,000 posts per year, and someone at Microsoft noticed that, and they nominated me for being an MVP, and the next year I was elected. So it was basically just, I've been continuing doing that ever since. Been able to maintain my MVP that way.
Okay, what type of MVP did you start out as?
Setup and deployment, obviously. But then, as the irony of everything, I started to work more with Config Manager because Config Manager also have OSD. So I switched over to the dark side and I joined your group, Rob. And as the irony of everything, a year after I switched to Config Manager, the Config Manager team also took over the code for MDT, which was the previous product I was working with. So now I'm only OSD again, but with a larger group.
Continuing that Star Wars theme, the circle is now complete.
The circle is complete, yes.
Yes. Now you're back. You're in with the big boys in the ECM space now, Johan, and you're playing with your one of your most favourite Microsoft gadgets, I suppose, or Microsoft bits of software, MDT.
Yes, I do. For people who hasn't heard about it, it's basically always the extensions to Config Manager. It adds a number of additional features that are really useful for OS deployment with Config Manager, and it simply helps you reduce the time you have to spend in a project implementing OSD.
I'm going to quote Brad Anderson. I don't know if it's correctly, but did he not say that MDT helps you to fix problems you didn't even know you had?
I didn't hear that from Brad, but I did heard it from Michael Niehaus at one point in time. But
then it's a misquote, and it should be attributed to Michael then. But
I think so. Yes, I think he might have borrowed that phrase from Michael, though. I think he was first. He was the lead architect and one of the biggest brains around MDT forever.
Is Michael still with that team?
No, he's not. He's moved out higher up the food chain. He has it's a more broader role now, but he still is involved in setup and deployment with Microsoft. I think he cannot have his. He still likes to have his fingers in there at some point or some part.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll still be creative input. Johan, what is the best thing about being an MVP?
It's the networking, obviously, with the other peers. In our group, as you know, Rob, we are about 50 MVPs right now, but there are, is it like 4,000 worldwide?
Around about that, yeah.
Yeah, it's an extreme large group of people. So networking is one thing, and also the ability to meet with the product groups one or more weeks every single year, being able to get input and to learn directly from basically the people who create the product. That's awesome.
That is just awesome. You can't put a figure on that. I personally couldn't put a figure on what I get back from the MVP program, but the interview is about yourself. But that's very insightful. Thank you, Johan. The next question is, what do you see yourself doing in 2 years' time?
I will probably be doing the same as I do today. with the combination of consulting, training, and writing and presenting. I like that combination. I probably cut down on the traveling a little bit. It's been extremely much travel the last 4 or 5 years, but next year I actually will cut down on it a little bit to be able to spend a little bit more time at home. But I will still be doing what I do.
It's worth it in the long haul, isn't it? But good luck to your ambitions to spend more time at home. Johan, what is the funniest, oddest request you've been asked to perform?
In terms of my consulting role, it has to be about almost 15 years ago. I was called out to a customer to configure a lathe, almost £1 million equipment they were using in their factories, and they wanted to attach it to the network. So they just bought it, and it came with an entire group of 4 or 5 engineers from Germany, and they wanted to connect that to the customer network that I was working at. And I have never seen such device in my entire life. I mean, that was a big machine. It was as big as my hotel room.
Oh, wow.
And I've never seen it before, but it came with a manual in Germany, and I don't speak German at all. But anyway, after browsing through that manual, I eventually find something that read, all right, networking or IP configuration. So it was possible to go through a menu on this big machine to attach it and give it an IP address and connect it to the network. So I think that is probably the most odd request I've done or been involved in.
That's quite a piece of iron to actually connect to a network, isn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah. It was fun though. But...
Yeah, I've no stories from me, because one day I may be interviewed. I just need to keep my stories for then. But
yeah, I can do that interview. It will be my pleasure.
Yeah, let's do that perhaps next week, because it could be quite funny, especially if you tap me on gaming. So, Johan, if you weren't a trainer, consultant, author, geek, what other job would you like to do if it was in a parallel universe? What would you be doing if you didn't do deployment?
Oh, that's a really difficult question. I probably wouldn't run a Starfleet, I think.
That's a good answer. Yeah. That's a good answer. Yeah. It's still technical. Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah. Some answers. Some people would say something profound like a pig farmer or some such thing, you know. But yeah, managing the fleet. That's quite a good answer. So if you weren't, have you received any fan mail or been recognised now you're famous amongst Microsoft techies?
Yes, I do, and it's not every week, but every once in a while you get an email or you're tweeted at or someone posts at your Facebook page and they just want to say thank you for something they've been helped with over the years, and it warms my heart every single time, and I can live months on a post like that. So, yes.
It's nice when people do that. It makes what we do worth it.
Indeed, it does. It's so valuable.
Yeah. But you haven't had anyone recognize you in any awkward positions, situations. Kent had an interesting story to tell us one time about being recognized in a swimming pool. Something like that.
No, not really. It's been most geeks are quite humble people. They keep it on a nice level.
Sure. Yeah. Well, Johan, thank you very much for taking the time to meet with us today, and we wish you all the best in the future. And thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks.